thank you so much for joining us yet for this another time. We're here with the son of the soil, one of your favorites, Chris Wanyangobi. How are you?
I'm very fine. How are you, my brother?
Long time.
It has been a very long time.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah,
How's it going?
Not bad, not bad, not bad. We've been there. The struggle has been on, and good punks, negative punks. Yeah, that's how it has been. Yeah, that's how it has been. Yes.
Are you still supporting President Ruto, or you shifted to the other side?
No, we are with Ruto. We were with Ruto during the hard times. We are with Ruto now. We shall be with Ruto in the foreseeable future. So I'm still with William Samoei Ruto, Doctor, PhD, WSR, mkuki wa Koitalen, marashi wa mama, ATM ya maasa, wallet ya mapasta, pure private bank ya asubuhi. Na serikali iko imara, yes. Serikali iko imara.
Watu wanapenda hiyo part tena. Can you just repeat it?
William Samoei Ruto, Doctor, PhD, WSR, mkuki wa Koitalen, marashi wa mama, ATM ya mahasla, pure private bank via Sukhoi.
Pure private bankers. You know, the last
time. I used to sell chicken. He used to sell chicken somewhere past my relatives airport, and he had no address at that time. He was nobody. He was just selling chicken, but from chicken seller to president, it's a miracle. All those things only happen in Kenya under UDA party. Yes.
Thank you so much. Today you look good.
Not really. We are just struggling. You know, when you are struggling, you have to put on good looks so that at least positivity comes about. But I can say for free that things are much better, and William Samoei Ruto much better than it was during Uhuru's time. It was during Uhuru's time. It was chaos for all of us. You know where you used to find us? Yeah, you used to find us there, chini ya mti. We used to be kwa mawe. Yeah, but with good thing with William Ruto, at least with Ruto things can work. Things are now moving much better than it was under Uhuru. Yes.
Now, talking of President Ruto and the good things, there's something controversial that has been going on that I want us to pay a look at today.
Yes.
And especially in the mountain. By the way, the president is in the western region, and bearing in mind that you come from the western region.
Yes.
How can you rate so far the projects that the president is doing?
The president has been very focused on the issue of helping all Kenyans, let alone the people of Western. But it should also be understood that the wife to the president, Mama Rachel Ruto, studied at Butere Girls. So in Ruto's mind, Western Kenya is one of the key areas that one it goes without saying, and that is why you even saw people like Salia Mudavadi and Wetangula joining President William Samoei Ruto. But it should also be understood that he comes from the neighborhood, from Sugoi to Tarbo, and then from Tarbo across to the other side, it's just near. In fact, he used to sell chicken and cattle when he was in his formative days. So he used to sell animals up Cape Karen. So Ruto knows that region very, very well, and Western is very important to him. And for free, Bungoma did marvelously under Moses Wetangula, and then these others. So he's targeting the areas of agriculture mostly because we are farmers. We're talking about agriculture, sugarcane plantation. He went to Busia also. He's putting up an EPZ there, export processing zone. Mount Elgon, he's putting up technical institutes. I saw he's trying to boost the issue because Kenya will be built by technical areas like polytechnics, village polytechnics, the technical areas, artisans. Those are the people we actually are looking for. So I think that is where President William Ruto is trying to put much of his emphasis. And we also saw many other areas like mining. He has an interest in mining. But mostly, I think sugarcane. Sugarcane is where President Ruto is.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing I want us to discuss. But before we come to that, we've also seen some leaders that had really rallied behind Azimio and Raila. People like Atwoli, and even we've seen the Mumias East legislator Peter Salasy in his rally. Do you think it's right for such to happen?
As I've said, is that President William Ruto has a very soft spot for Western, and the people of Western have a very soft spot for President William Ruto. it should be understood that we come from the borders. Personally, we come from a place called Kabras. We are the Kabras. We are the very neighbors to the Kalenjin, Rutos. We are neighbors to we are neighbors. So I can tell you for free that they have a very soft spot for President William Samoei Ruto. Back to the point, there is an issue of Salasia and others, including Francis Atwoli. Atwoli is an elder statesman. Atwoli is one of the leading Luhya kingpins of all time. When I'm talking about of all time, since the formative years of Masinde Muliro, Bembe and others, we are talking about Martin Shikuku, Wamalwa Kijana, all those that came, Elijah Mwangale, all of those. Since those formative years up to this day, when the names of those people will be mentioned, the kingpins of Luhya politics, the name of Francis Atwoli must be mentioned. So he has to go where the people are going. It's very obvious that the chances are that much of the Western Kenya is going to shift towards William Samoei Ruto. So, because they're seeing some of the fruits he's bringing to them. The road network is trying to open up some of those road networks that had been so much ignored over the years. In Mumias, I saw him opening up road network issues and so on. So basically, what I can tell you is that we don't be surprised that many of these Western politicians are all likely to shift towards.
Talking about the projects that you're saying, I saw people saying on social media that the president is launching some of the projects that even the MC is supposed to launch. So what is your take on that? Do you think that these projects, some of them are supposed to be done by the members of parliament and the MCA?
No, the president is very clear on some of these roads. People need to understand, for instance, issues of roads. We need to know that the roads, the different categories of roads, the Kura roads, we have Kenya National Highways, Kenha roads, national highways, we have national highways, we have urban roads, and so on. Then we have the village roads. Some of those roads that are connecting, for instance, one area to another, one county to another, they could be in villages and so on, but they're actually supposed to be under the national government. So I think what the president is doing is just in order. Technical education, matters of education is still under the national government. Education is still under the national government. So putting up technical institutions, I mean, that is the work of the president. For all fairness, what else has he done? Many things. Agriculture, much as agriculture is devolved, but we have the national policy issues that are going to control agriculture. That is where he comes in, because you need money from the national government. Actually, the collections from these county governments is very low. You cannot rely on that to run a county. We need funding from the national government. So basically, what I can tell you for free is that the president is doing all that the president is supposed to do. Yes.
Now, do you think also something that I've seen of concern, do you think it's also right for, unlike the previous president, we've seen that President Ruto has started some sort of people calling it campaign, where he's doing all these things on top of vehicles. Do you think he's right in your opinion?
I think you live in Kenya. There is a word called Mapema Ndio Best. Mapema Ndio Best.
What do you mean?
You see, the work of a politician is politics. And I think the president is just in order to start moving around to prepare for Mapema Ndio Best.
By the way, you're saying Mapema Ndio Best.
You know, let me tell you, when he began this journey in 2013, 2015, people thought he was joking. So Mapema Ndio Best. And by the time these guys began preparing themselves, Deep State, I don't know, First Place.
Don't you think it's barely a year since the president took over? Don't you think it's time for him to work for Kenyans first?
No, we're not talking about a technocrat. We're not talking about a technocrat. You're not talking about a technocrat, a CEO of some company, a blue chip company or something. You're talking about a president of Kenya who is elected from the people through a political process, and he has to organize himself. Because this thing, if you don't organize yourself, you can be displaced and misplaced.
But you never saw that in President Uhuru and Kibaki.
Uhuru is a joker, and that is what, he was relying so much on Ruto's energy. That's why he was not doing that. And
Okay,
Kibaki also messed up by sleeping in class, and that is why you saw what happened in 2007. In fact, Raila had taken that thing in 2007. He took that thing in 2007 because of Kibaki. Kibaki was so much of a technocrat. He wanted to be so much in the offices, he wanted to be so much in boardroom meetings and stuff like that, and forgot that he was a politician. And that is why Raila, it was an easy take for Raila Amolo Odinga. But
So for you,
but for William Ruto, he's a marathoner. He comes from the Rift. What were marathon mapema ndio best. So you prepare for presidency of William Samoei Ruto. If unless otherwise, in 2027, prepare for another presidency of William Samoei Ruto.
does it mean in that case that once politicians are occupying offices, that is public office, for them to campaign, it's okay? So governors should as well start that, and members of parliament?
Governors come under a political leader. Governors come under a political leader. They cannot just start campaigning if their leader is not campaigning. So if, for instance, Raila is asleep, if Raila is sleeping, I mean, you'll find the governors are not, and two, the governors have to manage, because services have been devolved to the county government. So I doubt whether governors should be engaged in politics. They shouldn't be serving Kenyans, because what Ruto is doing is that he's moving around for supervisory duties. Yeah? He's just supervising the projects that are being run by the national government. And whoever is being supervised should be working. That's why the governors should do that. At the same time, they should not also be engaging so much in politics if their leaders at the top are not doing it. So they came under a party. For instance, most of these people elected under UDA party. If the president is on other issues, you cannot start campaigning for 20. Some of them are serving a second term, others are serving a first term, but it will depend on how they act. They work for the Kenyan people. So I think that's why they have to.
So for you, just to cover that up, for you, it's okay for any president who takes office for the first term to start campaigning a year after election just to secure.
No, actually, what the president is doing, which is also being seen as a campaign, is that he's supervising the very many things he's doing. So with that, he actually can look as if he's in a campaign mood. But in my opinion, I don't think that that is a campaign per se. We can call it a meet the people tour to hear the views of Kenyans, because public participation is very important in everything you're doing. Whatever road you want to bring them, whatever polytechnics you want to put up, whatever schools you want to put up and stuff like that, you public participation, and that is where the president is going to the people for that. And we can call it campaigns, well, it depends on where we are, but if it is campaigns, then Mapema do best. If it is not on the side of campaigns, then he's only supervising government projects. Yes.
All right, now let's come to the debate now.
Yes.
A number of people on social media, and this has brought a lot of heat all over the country. You've told me you come from Kabras.
Yes.
Now, people are talking of Kabras. Kabras Sugar is also associated with. Let's talk about businessman, just one try. Now, the president said that he's among the cartels, if I might say, and there are three options that the president gave the cartels who are, some of them controlling the name. And he said that it's either they flee out of Kenya, they go to jail, or they go to heaven. And some people have taken that going to heaven as death. So what can you talk about?
You see, you need not fear if you are on the right side of things. We know very well that so many politicians, so many businessmen, so many technocrats took sides in 2022, in the 2022 race. That one goes without saying. Politicians were funded by certain businessmen. That one goes without saying. And these businessmen took sides. That is what I'm trying to say. And they were taking sides using taxpayers' money. They are businessmen, but some of them are running institutions that are also linked to government. Some of these companies, you see them, are not private. Actually, they are government parastatals. They are supposed to be under government. You are given money, taxpayers' money, to run an institution. Using taxpayers' money, you embezzle the money, You don't revive a factory, and then you hope that you'll be protected by a certain politician who will come to power in 2022. That politician fails to come to power. Then you asked a few questions. Can you answer A, B, C, D? It was just a multiple question thing. Give us the answer to this. You can choose A, you can choose B, you can choose C, you can choose D. Equally, the president gave them options. He told them.
But before that, we saw a CCTV footage of, Jason Shai. I think somewhere in Kilimani, he was abducted on Friday, and then his whereabouts were not known, and then on Sunday he was released. And his lawyer, I think, said that they released him, though they did not harm him, but he didn't disclose exactly what they told him, during that period. Do you think it's a threat to investors in the country?
No, let me tell you this. No one, first of all, back to the issue of Rai. No one wants to, in my opinion, no one wants to harm Rai for free. Take that on to the bank and cash it. No one can harm Rai. Investors, if there is anything we need in Kenya right now, are investors, because our economy was messed up by Uhuru in the 10 years that he was at State House. We need investors to pump prime our economy, and for that we need Rai and all those other businessmen that we need on board so that we run our economy. Now, no investor should feel threatened, for as long as we're doing what is right. If you are not crossing if you are given money, taxpayers' money, revive an industry. You're asked, where is the money? What have you put here? Because some of these businessmen, for instance, some of them tell us they are bringing sugar. They're manufacturing sugar. But actually they are importing sugar from other sources. Then they pack it somewhere, then they sell it as sugar from Wambilianga sugar factory. It's not possible. It's not possible. We need to know what is it you're putting into this factory, because farmers need to be paid and so on. This company, a lot of taxpayers' money has been pumped into some of these factories to revive them, and you're not reviving them. Back to Rai. Some people are hiding behind the issue of Rai to defend themselves and blowing the whole thing out of proportion, because they are the ones hiding money in some of these businessmen. We know the families that have been looting this country since 1963. So they were doing business with some of these businessmen, taking taxpayers' money, hide it under these businessmen. Now, when you touch Rai, definitely they'll begin running all over the place, talking to media and so on. And the way you media, the way you do your things, you'll start saying, Rai is being witch hunted, I don't know, businessmen are being investors. Let me tell you, this matter was very simple. That is why the president gave how many? 3 options. But no one wants to kill Rai, because you talk about heaven. So people thought heaven, it means then exile it means that you'll be deported. No one will be deported. Who deported so many people, including our fellow Africans? From Nigeria, it just immediately got into State House. This began with Chinedu.
I don't invest.
Chinedu was an investor. He left here move around. That is why he stuck on our Kenya plane that had deported him to Nigeria. He stuck on our plane because he had left here around. He was saying he had left here around 6 billion. He was an investor. So he deported people. Miguna, our brother. Miguna, a lawyer is an investor. A lawyer is an investor.
But in that case, you cannot talk of Miguna. Miguna was also came back, and he went. He was back into the country when Ruto was being so evil. Again, he left on his own premise. But
because he has a lot of business to do in Canada, he has a lot of money in Miguna.
There's something that I just want us to get from this, because it is said, statistics shows that Jason Chai controls his company, that is West Kenya, controls almost 50%, almost more than 50% of the sugar that the country consumes. Now, behind that, he also has controlled Menengai, Menengai drinking soaps and all that stuff, and also cement, I think, a cement company. So, somebody said, and I saw it somewhere on social media, where there is a sugar company that is being started, I think, that has been opened, I think, or is being opened in Kericho, if if I'm not wrong. And people are saying that it's a strategy the president is using to control, because Rai is now known to control almost over 50%. And the president wants, to take it and be the main controller of that sector into the country.
What I can tell you is that President Ruto, much as he's a politician, he's also a technocrat. A little bit of a technocrat, not to the Kibaki style of boardroom. So President Ruto can juggle both. Let me tell you one mistake President Ruto is not likely to do. Is to bully others from the business or the market segments for him to take a position. That one President Ruto will not do. Because let me tell you, Kenya has a deficit of hundreds of thousands of metric tons of sugar. You cannot kick out Rai because you want to bring in another sugar company. By the way, we need as many sugar companies as possible because mostly our sugar has been for domestic use. We need industrial sugar. We are importing some of these things from other countries. By the way, we need sugar for other things. We need to make other things from sugar. We need biofuels. Let me tell you, the president does not want to kick out Rai for him to take over this thing. What I can tell you for free is this, and I want to take it to the bank and cash it. The president has been asking hard questions on behalf of Kenyans. The taxpayers suffered all these years. The people of Mumias have been crying all these years. Mumias was a bustling economy. It was a vibrant area. When the factory smoke ceased, that is when Mumias town, Shivale, Mayoni, Matungu, all those towns, all the way up to Bungoma. All those areas, Panyako, those are areas in that region. I've moved there. Those areas died. And this, Mumias Sugar was covering almost these areas of Ingots.
But why is it that, Rai is to blame in this? We have people like Kidero who we obviously know looted Mumias to collapse, but because he's on the president's side.
No, so listen, when people don't know what happened in the issue of Kidero. Kidero was just a spanner boy in this game of Mumias Sugar. We know who are the people in the Ministry of Finance at that time, how they got so rich, and so on. So Kidero was being used as a punching bag in this game. They put up even some other fellas to replace him, and put up some dream team to revive Mumias Sugar. But we know who had sent Kidero there. We know what they did. They wanted to use Kidero as a cover-up. We know. You can do the research about what happened there. People have always mentioned the name of Kidero, but let me tell you this for free. Evans Kidero did not have much to do with what was happening there at Mumias. There are fellas who are pulling the strings all the way from Nairobi. And they were the ones who were messing up the entire Mumias Sugar. So, but they used Kidero, and because, Kidero at that time, Kidero came and was in the opposition, people threw stones at him. Kidero moved a little bit, he was a governor here, people threw stones at him, saying Kidero Mumias. But no, you do your research properly. Kidero, there was very little Kidero could do at that time. When you are sent there as a managing director, there are people who appointed you up here in Nairobi. So those are the guys who ran the show. And I can tell you this for free, that Kidero had nothing to do with the failure of Mumias Sugar.
So your parting shot in this as you wind up, the first thing I'd like to know, do you think it's right for when the president said that it's time that we need to privatize Mumias Sugar Company, for that matter, and also just to come in the issue of Rai and his family. Rai has been in Kenya, and also his company and group of companies, so the family has been operating them across East Africa. Do you think it's a threat to when other businessmen see this? Is it a threat from the government? And do you think the president needs to apologize for the 3 words he used?
Rai, and all those people who are of Asian origin are actually Kenyans. The law is also very clear. Conversely, when you come with a certain amount of money to invest in this country, conversely, you become a Kenyan. you become a Kenyan, if you apply for it, no one can expel Rai from Kenya. That one, take it to the bank and cash it. No one can expel Rai from Kenya. Two, investors should not feel threatened. These are just genuine questions the president was asking, and no one is going to harm Rai. Nothing is going to happen to him. What I can only tell you is that no one can expel the Asian community from Kenya.
Not even the president.
I'm telling you, my brother. Okay, Asian, for instance, from which country?
India, we see.
My friend, do you know what India is? Do you know what India is? They have gone to the moon. You are struggling to go to your village. You cannot reach. They have gone to the moon. Do you know how? Do you know what India is? 1.3, 1.6 something billion people, above China now. You cannot. India is not a thing you just. Do you know what India is? If they hold their urine, 1.6 billion liters of urine, they will create a flood. You will not move in this Nairobi. If they urinate at 1 all of them 1.6 billion liters. I'm talking about urine. I'm not talking about money now. Don't joke with India. India. President Biden has ignored going for a certain summit in Europe. He was supposed to go to Indonesia. He has not gone. He's going to India. I mean, it tells you who calls the shots now. India is not a country you will. India is not. India is a power. India is a power. It has bought all those brands you can talk of. Mercedes, the Land Rover, the Range Rovers and stuff. Tata has taken it over. India is not. You think. No, you cannot do that. You cannot tamper with them here. No one does it. Idi Amin tried it, and that was the end of it. That was the end of it. Museveni had to bring them back. India, my friend, you cannot tamper with India.
So, privatization of Mumias Sugar probably. Will it be of benefit to the residents?
It will be of benefit, but we cannot wholly privatize. Some of these things need nursing because we failed in some of the areas where we've privatized government institutions. So I think people look into it. It needs public participation because this is a people's property. He told even people in Nzoia. He told the people in Nzoia that we are not going to go that privatization route. Government can still revive these institutions and send you young people there to work. When you privatize it, some people might decide that, we're running this place. They'll bring you all the workers from everywhere. Someone can bring you all the workers from Mars. Tell you these are private. We want it to benefit the people, the Luya people. Because this is our heritage. If it's the people from Ramisi, they benefit the people of the coast. Miwani benefit the people of Nyanza, and so on. Muhoroni. We cannot go that way. We need to have these institutions controlled from within, and that will really greatly help our people. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. That was our time here. Yes. And make sure, I just want to know your comments by the way on this. Do you think, what's your opinion on the president's words? Do you think he needs to take them back as some of the civil societies have claimed, as well as the LSK, that the president needs to take back his words that he used for the investors and Moso Rai and his family? Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.